When I was like 10 years old, our dad took our family to this dental office-themed miniature golf course. It was supposed to be a fun day out, but little did I know it would turn into a nightmare. The place was eerie right from the start. The miniature golf course was set up like a dental office, with oversized teeth, drills, and scary-looking dentist chairs scattered around. The staff, dressed as creepy dentists, would jump out from behind obstacles, scaring the living daylights out of us. As we played, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The air was thick with a strange energy, and the laughter of the other families seemed forced. I noticed that the staff were watching us a little too closely, their eyes never leaving us for a second. When we reached the final hole, a giant mouth with sharp teeth, I felt a shiver run down my spine. As my dad lined up his shot, one of the staff members approached us, a sinister smile on his face. He whispered something to my dad, and I saw a look of horror across his face. Before we knew it, we were being herded into a back room. The staff members, now revealing themselves to be actors, told us that we were part of a new attraction at the miniature golf course. We were going to be the stars of a horror show, where we would be chased by dentist monsters through a maze of dental equipment. My dad tried to protest, but it was too late. We were trapped, and the staff members were closing in. I remember the fear in my little sister's eyes as she clung to me, and the sound of my dad's voice as he pleaded with them to let us go. But it was no use. The dentist monsters were upon us, and we were forced to run for our lives. The maze was dark and winding, with dental chairs that came to life and chased us down. I could hear the screams of my family, the sound of my own heart pounding in my ears. In the end, we made it out, but the experience left us shaken to the core. I never looked at a dentist the same way again, and to this day, I still have nightmares about that day at the dental office-themed miniature golf course. One time back in college, I took one of my dates to this miniature golf course. I know that a lot of courses have themes, but this place was just bizarre. The sign on the front advertised it as a gerbil, club soda, and ripped t-shirt course, whatever that meant. We walked inside, and the place was dimly lit, with a musty smell hanging in the air. The walls were painted a sickly green color, the carpet was stained and worn. The attendant behind the counter had a glazed look in his eyes as he handed us our clubs and balls. As we made our way through the course, we encountered bizarre obstacles. One hole was surrounded by cages filled with gerbils, who were running frantically on their little wheels. Another hole had a fountain of club soda pouring from a statue of a giant golf ball. And one hole was just a pile of old, ripped t-shirts with a sign that read, "Take a swing at your own risk." As we played, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about this place. The other customers seemed strange, too. Some of them had a vacant look in their eyes, and others seemed to be muttering to themselves. Finally, we reached the last hole, which was in a dark corner of the building. As we approached, we heard a strange sound, a low, rumbling growl. Suddenly, a figure lunged out of the shadows. It was a man, his face twisted into a snarl. He was wearing a ripped t-shirt and holding a golf club. We turned and ran, but the man was right behind us. We could hear his heavy breathing and the sound of his footsteps. We made it to the exit and burst out into the cool night air. Needless to say, we never went back to that miniature golf course again, and to this day, I still don't know what the gerbil, club soda, and ripped t-shirt course was all about. But I do know one thing. I know that I'll never forget the terror I felt that night. One day after school, me and my friends decided to try the new Photoshop-themed miniature golf course that just opened up. It was a unique idea, combining our love for art and our competitive spirit. We were excited to try something new and fun. As we arrived at the course, we noticed it was surprisingly empty for an opening day. The place was also dimly lit, and the air was thick with a strange, musty smell. At first we shrugged it off, thinking it was just part of the ambiance. We grabbed our clubs and balls and made our way to the first hole. The theme was The Haunted Mansion, and the course was designed to look like a creepy old house with cobwebs and eerie paintings. We laughed and joked around, trying our best to lighten the mood. As we played, things started to feel off. The music was unsettling, and the sound effects were way too realistic. The air was also getting colder somehow, and we could hear whispers and faint laughter echoing throughout the course. We tried to ignore it and keep playing, but the feeling of unease grew stronger. We reached the last hole, the dungeon, and that's when things took a turn for the worse. This room was pitch black, and we could barely see our hands in front of us. We heard the sound of chains rattling and the screams of tortured souls. We were terrified, but we couldn't find our way out. Suddenly the lights flickered on, and we saw a figure standing at the end of the room. It was a ghostly woman, her face twisted in a sinister smile. She beckoned us closer, and we couldn't resist her call. As we approached, we realized the figure wasn't a ghost at all. It was a hologram, a clever trick to scare us. We laughed nervously, relieved that it was just a game. But as we turned to leave, we heard the sound of the chains again. The figure reappeared, but this time it was real. The woman lunged at us, her eyes glowing with malice. We ran as fast as we could, but we couldn't escape the course. The doors were locked, and the windows were barred. We were trapped, and that woman was getting closer. We huddled together, waiting for our fate, but as we closed our eyes, we heard a voice in our heads. It was the voice of the woman, telling us to play again. We opened our eyes, and we were back at the first hole. We realized we were stuck in a never-ending loop, forced to play the game over and over again. The woman was a part of the course, a twisted entity that fed on our fear. We tried to fight back, to break the cycle, but it was no use. The course had us in its grip, and we were doomed to play forever.